Howdy DC On Screen fans, how would you like a piece of original artwork from one of us here at DC On Screen?
Alright, we're aware that you've never thought of that before, but here's the deal. We need your help. Because the internet is a giant monster that requires numbers and regular feeding times. And then these algorithm things that are like our personal demons that we can't defeat alone. Do the right thing. Go over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review or a more honest review if you feel absolutely led to. And then email us at dconscreen@gmail.com. What we're going to need you to do is just write in an address. Tell us who you are. Give us whatever address you want us to send you something at. You know, if you don't want us to know where you live, send it to your neighbors and go steal his mail, whatever.
Yeah.
Just give us that, and then we need you to write Dave or Jason, and then we need you to write the name of a character. We're going to send you a piece of artwork. All I can say about it is that one of us is a good artist and one of us is not. If you've actually been listening to every episode, you might know the secret answer to that, to who you should really ask. But hey, or toss a coin.
Man, you know, once you get the picture from us, take a picture of it or scan it or something. Send it back to us, and we'll put it on Facebook, just like we do with your DC loot.
Yeah. Send it back with, like, critiques if you want to. We don't give a fuck, you know. Draw over it, you know, pull a Deadpool. Right? Whatever.
One of us might cry.
We'll both probably cry. But whatever. Point is, you know, it's come that time. It's the classic call to action. We need to get out there. We need to get a little bit of the review game going. And this is our humble offering.
Yeah, humble offering. Very humble. I couldn't say it any better myself, man. That was a good pitch.
Oh, thank you.
All right, with that said, settle in for a new episode of DC On Screen. Welcome to DC On Screen. I'm your host, David C. Robertson, and this is my co-host, Jason.
Woohoo!
All right, so we're going to get into Lucifer. Episode 1, pilot. We're going to get super spoilery on it, so if you have a problem with that, go watch the episode and then come back.
Wasn't it like...
Please come back.
It was like 7.7 million on the opening, on the premiere? I think it was like 7.7... It beat Supergirl.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I was...
yeah, something like that.
I was surprised. I think a fair amount of that might just be people going... The show's called what now? Oh, I'm going to check that out real quick.
A lot of it's attributed to the bump from the X-Files.
Yeah, that's going to help.
The X-Files kind of just came back after an extended hiatus and whipped his gigantic dick out. Like,
Chris Carter is back, baby.
Like, hey, baby, it's been 15 years. Miss me?
Flop. Much? Yeah. And the rest of America collectively went, yes, we did. Welcome back. We missed you so much.
And I hit Netflix and went, I gotta catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I've seen all of it. I haven't seen it in many, many years.
It's been a long time. I don't think I made it all the way through. I really did. Once it started getting kind of weird, and those last few seasons are odd. So,
not really. I mean, anyway, we can't talk about
different topic.
We'll get into the X-Files. We'll get into the X-Files, but so Lucifer, the show is, you know, interestingly about Lucifer, the devil, leaving hell and coming to Earth because he's bored and he opens a bar. Now,
I can relate on at least one aspect. I would get bored doing anything for a long time,
much less an eternity.
Right.
Yeah.
I get bored easily anyway. So the ADD in me was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's change pace.
Now, people who are looking to see this and hoping that it's very much like the comics are probably going to be
hugely disappointed.
Hugely disappointed, yeah. If anything, it reminds me of Constantine. More than anything.
It really did.
You know, he's British. He's kind of a jackass. Sleeps around a lot. And time freezes, and he talks to a big black angel.
Right. I mean, it's got to, like... The similarities are striking, to put it mildly, right?
Yeah, it is. And even, like, the angel's wings, like... look like Manny's wings.
Yeah, but these looked a little more weaponized, at least. Like, when he, you know, puts it up on his throat there, it gives him the the pushback.
Yeah,
like
well.
Lucifer's clearly kind of grabbing his throat. Like that was at least uncomfortable. I don't think I ever saw Manny like straight up assault anybody with a wing.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like they could actually have John show up on this series and make it be known that the Rising Darkness is a result of factions fighting to take over Hell since Lucifer left. Right. That would be just amazing to me,
wouldn't it?
Oh man, I want to see Spectre show up. I want to see everybody. Like they're playing thematically and like with the tone, they are playing so much Constantine in this show so far in just the first episode that I just kind of feel like, man, if they actually brought this up.
Well, at the very least, it's kind of filling that gap emotionally for me. And I'll go one further. I don't actually consider it so much a Constantine series as I consider this almost Jim Corrigan's spinoff. This guy's Spectre.
Yeah, well, there's no Jim Corrigan right now. So.
Well, I know. But, like, like his character acts like Spectre for the most part. So, like, he runs around...
A little bit.
Wreaking vengeance upon people.
Yeah. And, you know, that might be an interesting place to take the character if they, like, most of the DC shows, or at the very least Arrow, likes to play with the idea that, you know, like Oliver comes back from the island and he's killing people, and then he slowly realizes that he should stop killing people.
Right.
And he gets more evolved. I think they should go the exact opposite with Lucifer. Like maybe they kind of have a small arc where he thinks, maybe I'll stop killing people, and then he just like, nope, they're awful. I'm gonna start punishing them.
Yeah, and my advice to them would be, you know, like we'll see where the retention ratings are next week, but it shows that have focused this closely on actual God, the devil by name, don't generally make it that long. It doesn't really last. You've got a season. You've got half a season most of the time, historically at least. Mm-hmm. So whatever you're doing, I would say get on it. Which means the procedural thing's probably going to be a bummer when we look back on it.
Yeah, it is. It's already a bummer.
Right.
It's already a bummer to me because you know what? There are at least half a dozen procedurals they could go with that don't piss off everyone.
Right.
By virtue of their existence.
They've picked a weird spot here because like that it's a show that's going to be controversial by its nature. I mean, the moment you pin this, the moment you put the name out on a press release, you've already got petitions against you. And so you've got like a certain amount of you know, bounce back that you're never going to be able to get. And on the other hand, like they didn't exactly stick to the comics here. Like this isn't Neil Gaiman's Lucifer. Not really.
They're not even billing it as Neil Gaiman's Lucifer.
No. Like Neil Gaiman isn't even saying
huge mistake.
Yeah, pretty much you can slap his name on anything. And just immediately get extra points for it, right? But so if you were really looking for the show because you wanted to see the show based on your books, you know, you might not know what you're doing. And if you already hated the show because you were just always going to hate this kind of show, well, then you were already off the books anyway. So now you've kind of like eliminated two groups to me. And then in the middle here, you're choosing like a police procedural, which there are about 14 dozen of at any given point.
Yep.
So it's a weird line. It's a weird, I don't know what, I'm curious.
And, you know, another thing I find interesting is that they kind of grab their cop and they're like, hey, by the way, if you didn't like that, you know, the show was about Lucifer, the person he's teaming up with, ex-porn star.
Right.
I mean...
I liked her line, there aren't enough bullets in this... Or what'd she say? Like, there's too many bullets in this gun for you to be talking that way or something like that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think I might like her.
Yeah, she was okay.
I'd like to see where they go with her, though. If she has some sort of any kind of divine backstory to her, because he can't affect her. Surely that means something, that he can't actually use his wiles on her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A little disconcerting, though, that Brother Blood is her ex.
I know. I liked that guy on True Blood, too. I did. And then...
I you know those chemical reactions you have to people's faces?
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
My stomach turns every time I see the dude. I don't know why. Like, he just looks like a dick. Every time I see him, I'm like, I just know he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, a prick.
Right.
You know?
I know what you mean.
I actually wrote down, ew, Brother Blood.
Right.
And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, this dude played Brother Blood on Arrow in season 2.
Right. And it wasn't even the worst part about that season, sadly. But he tried. He tried to be.
You say that, and people are going to fight you. Apparently, lots of people loved season 2 of Arrow. I don't get it.
It's not. I'm happy for them, but I don't understand. Like, I wish I felt more like that, because I would have enjoyed it more. But it just we went in a better direction after that. That's a different problem.
There are lots of things about this show that I actually enjoy, like when he goes to the wedding.
Yeah.
And just the way that the priest looked at him and backed away.
Yeah.
Like,
just instinctive.
No real reason to.
It was. It looked like a gut reaction. Like,
yeah.
Like just the
no external reason, though.
Yeah. He didn't. I mean, it's not like he wears a flag or anything. And I loved how delighted he is, like when he tells the little girl like what his name is, and she's just like, "Oh, like the devil." And he's like, "Yes, thank you." Because he has that problem with adults all the time, I assume, where he says his name. "Oh, my name's Lucifer Morningstar," and they start laughing their ass off, or immediately blowing him, whichever one happens. I assume it's like 50-50. He introduces himself, half people laugh, half people have sex with him.
Or at the very least, tell him something.
Right. That's going to end up being a lot of fun.
Probably kind of doesn't even want to know.
That gag where he can, like, do that to people. And incidentally, that therapist, God, I hope she's a recurring character. I mean, I know that she, like, right now she's set up to be his therapist, but I hope that's actually something we get to see a lot of. Mm-hmm. Because she's funny, first of all. And I thought she did a wonderful job here.
Yeah. Yeah. I assumed that was going to be sort of a book-ending feature on the show.
Yeah.
Is him talking to that therapist.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping so. It, like Monk.
Her helping him work
Monk
through his daddy issues.
In particular.
Yeah.
Oh, funniest line in it, I thought, was clearly like, "Oh, that's a hooker's name." Mm-hmm. What's a hooker? Ask your mommy. Or, well, it was that, or I actually got a pretty good laugh out of "I'm not a Jedi."
Yeah, that was good.
That
was funny.
I liked the hookup on that one. But I got to tell you, I mean, like he comes around the corner in this, really not a car guy, but I know a sexy car when I see it, and that's a sexy car. Comes around playing fucking Cage the Elephant. I'm like, oh man, I'm already into this show. We're like the credits have barely started, and I'm already pretty much engaged.
One of my favorite bits was he goes to that rapper's house or hip hop artist's house, and he says, "Yes, I'm here to see the man sadly named Too Vile." Of course, the guy's like, "Oh, well, the butler's like, oh, he's in mourning or whatever," and he's like, "Yes, I have his narcotics." He's like, "Right this way, sir." And then proceeds to walk in and tell this dude, could someone please turn off this awful music? And the guy, I love the guy is like, "Oh, you have a problem with black people?" He's like, "No. Black people created the blues. I have a problem with your music."
Specifically the blues line.
Whatever it was.
Awesome. I think I bothered writing that one down. I've lost it now because I can't read my own damn handwriting. But
I had the same issue here.
That was the line.
I wrote it down. I don't know what it is.
Without the blues, there'd be no devil's music. And God, I fucking love the blues. So I dug that line.
He's like, "But I hate your music."
What are you saying? Oh, I don't mean your people's music. I mean specifically yours. Oh.
Yeah, that was all wonderful.
It was. It was a great interchange. And I loved a couple things about that scene. Like I thought that was a good interchange. That poor butler, by the way, he goes to the door 2 times in a row, and it's first time it's the fucking devil trying to come assault his employer, and the second time it's a fucking detective. Like, he's having a bad day. I felt bad for him of all people out of that. But the way like Lucifer just charges the dude through the fucking window, and the interrogation scene. It's like, oh man, he is going to be fun to watch when he gets angry.
Yeah,
but
I love that he was telling the cop. He's like, "Oh, he doesn't know anything. I've already threatened him.
I've already threatened his life. He would have told me." And like as a minute ago, everyone had their guns drawn at this guy, and he's holding 2 vial over a freaking, I don't know what swank-ass balconies are called. We'll call them swank-ass balconies. But he's holding him out here by his fucking chain. He pulls him back in, and then like 3 minutes later, they're all in there like smiling with each other like, yeah, she's from that film. Okay. All right. This clearly has been, this situation, I think, has been diffused.
What was it they called her? The modern Phoebe Cates? I'm like, wow. You guys are going back for that one.
Right.
Freaking Fast Times at Ridgemont High, really? Okay.
Someone over 40 wrote the script, buddy. That's what happened.
Yep. That is what happened. Or someone who just knows a lot about pop culture like myself.
Right.
Way too much about pop culture.
Yeah.
Where did my life go?
I don't know. It amuses the hell out of me, so I'm fine. I'm not having any deep crises about it myself. I think it's funny. I move on.
Okay. Wait, which part do you think is funny? The fact that I've devoted so much of my life to knowing pop culture? Is that why it's funny? Because it's me?
Yeah. Well, the pop culture that you do know that usually abuses me, and
okay,
and,
or the line,
or having gone that far down the rabbit hole too is pretty funny. It's
okay.
Pretty much a win-win for me, is what I'm saying.
So my sadness amuses you. Is that what you're saying?
I thought I'd made that clear. Yes.
Okay. Sorry. There's when you're being told something like that, there's any number of emotions and thoughts that run through your head. Sure. Sometimes you get a little distracted.
I understand.
You want to make sure you understand the point fully and completely.
I'll be more straightforward with my derision in the future, just to avoid to avoid these kinds of conversations.
Fair enough. So yeah.
Is there, by the way, like, does this mean there's no one doing any kind of punishing in hell, or like, what are the implications so far? Does it actually say?
They said the implications were that all the lost and damned souls will be coming here.
So it is Reaper. We're going to do Reaper.
Yeah, which disappointing to me.
Not altogether. I love Reaper, but
and well, I just don't want to see that
right
with this series.
Also, you never got around to watching Reaper, so
yeah, because I didn't want to see
that.
Right. So no, you know what? I actually I heard Kevin Smith did the was like EP or something on Reaper, and he started it, and I thought, you know what? That's not gonna last.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it was Kevin Smith. I hoped it would last because it was Kevin Smith.
Well, he kind of directed the pilot, set it on its way, and went and did something else.
Yeah, like I actually had like a situation where Matt Carroll over at the Marvel Cast called me, and which he wasn't on the Marvel Cast at the time, but he called me. He was like, "Man, there's a new show Kevin Smith's doing called The Reaper," and he explained the premise to me, and I laughed and went, "Well, that's canceled." That sounds way too good.
It was a bubble show, I think, to renew. I think it made it 2 seasons, and it barely bubbled its way into existence for season 2, and then was pulled prematurely. They didn't even do it right. Like, they didn't get to end anything. It's terrible. I think I've already said this before. I don't know if we've talked about it. But yeah, I had to look up like an AMA to get that. That all sounds familiar, and I can't remember. Sometimes I can't remember what we've talked about like privately and publicly. So
yeah, I don't either. But this is something we talked about privately. I thought it would have been way more interesting since they were already taking vast and immeasurable liberties with the comic book. If they had done a thing where instead of having Lucifer doing a procedural show, running around with a cop, if they had, because there are people who believe that Lucifer is on the earth, like biblically, on Earth, and that he gets thrown into hell when the world ends. So if they did like a post-apocalypse, or they did like a pre-apocalypse show, like the the world is about to come to an end. The signs are happening. And Lucifer's trying to stop it because he doesn't want to get thrown in hell. That would have been way more interesting. But you pointed out that was pretty much Neil Gaiman's Good Omens.
Yeah, well, Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett.
Yeah, and Terry Pratchett.
Wouldn't want to leave him out of that equation. But yeah, like you can pull two things from Neil Gaiman in this case. You could just pull from all the Gaiman canon.
Which, the thing that I thought of was Spike helping Buffy in what was it, season 2 of the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when he realized oh no, I like this Earth, it's awful and decadent, and people are how did he put it, something,
it's been too long,
they're walking talking hot pockets.
Yes, I do remember that line.
So he teams up with her to stop. Maybe it wasn't season 2, but he teams up with Buffy to stop Angel or something.
Right?
Maybe it was season 2. I don't remember. I need to watch that show again if I ever have time.
You won't.
So I won't. No. I did see a review headline for Lucifer that made me laugh. It said, "How do you make the devil boring?" Lucifer.
I don't completely agree.
I don't completely agree, but at the same time, I'm looking at this Lucifer character, and I'm going, that's not the devil. The whole time, I'm going, that's not the devil.
Yeah. And, well, the thing is, though, they did so much of their work just with the casting. The guy playing him is just fucking charming. I mean, just absurdly charming.
Wouldn't he have to be?
Wouldn't he? Yeah. And so... they just did so much. They took so much off their plate just with that. They've got a lot of wiggle room now. They can...
This guy does adequately portray the absolute modicum of ego, at the very least, the absolute modicum of ego that would be required of someone playing what has been heralded God's most beautiful angel.
Right. And lest you forget the silver tongue.
Yeah. I mean, he's got it. I just, at the same time, I'm sitting there going, the show doesn't feel weighty enough to denote the epicness that they're trying to shoot for. It feels like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It feels silly and somewhat, I don't know, nonchalant.
Nonchalant's a good word. Yeah, I mean, for a show that's supposed to be about the most evil thing that has ever existed, it's very lighthearted.
It's interesting.
And so far, the angel looks scarier at this point. At this juncture in the show, I don't know. Lucifer keeps talking a big game about hey, when we, it's basically you remember the Jane and Mal conversation. Well, what happens when the money's good enough? Well, that'll be an interesting day. It looks like they're having that, but he's got all the bravado he needs, I guess. But I keep looking at the two, thinking dude, you're not going to win that fight. There's no way. Even in his true form, which is, by the way, scary. I'm just I got my money on I don't even know this guy's name, but
Amenadiel.
Thank you. I got my money on Amy.
The other issue, though, is that I'm not sure that anyone on the show is actually likable. Except for maybe the little girl. And if you don't like kids, that's going to be a problem.
If you just have that same chemical reaction to children.
Lucifer will make you laugh.
Right.
But you're going to feel weird about it.
There's not going to be a true protagonist, You're
going to feel a little weird about it. Even if you don't have any real religious predilection or anything like that. Right. Because in the show itself, everything he does that's good is for selfish asshole reasons.
Yeah, he's not gonna be a hero by any. He'll be an anti-hero. That's how they're gonna write him. That's how it's gonna go.
They're actually John Constantining better than John Constantine did.
I know.
On Constantine. It's just, oh man. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the show. I think it's good for a pilot, I suppose, but I'm gonna need to see something other than a procedural to give a shit.
I agree. And I know I mentioned the music early, but man, they got all over the place with the music. The soundtrack on this episode was good.
It was good. Do not expect that going forward. They don't have the money.
There's no way. No way.
There's no way they have the money. Now, they did open strong with X-Files. You know, of course, the real test is what happens in the next episode, like how the ratings fare.
But you're not going to be able to afford Bowie on every episode, dude.
No. No, you're not.
I wonder if his like licensing fees go up. I don't know. I don't know how that affects things. But I really did. I had a moment like the first bar scene. I can't even remember what song now. Do you remember what song it was? The Bowie song?
Oh gosh, what was it? No, I don't remember.
One of his many good songs. But I had a moment where I heard the song and went, oh. Because, you know, don't we all miss him a little bit?
You know, well, yes. But shifting topics, I really want to see this show take it to where the comic books did with, and I know it's not a comic book, I know, guys, but if this show actually does last, which I don't think it will, but if it lasts as long as it takes to get us Doctor Strange, we might get here to a point where, like, I want this show to start sinking into the other realms, go to, like, more ethereal planes. I want, man, I want to see him talk. I want Sandman. That's what I want. And that's what he had in the comics. Like, it got onto, like, a real, like, philosophical platforms in the comics that also, like, jumped deep into, like, other planes of existence and some of the more psychedelic aspects of reality within the DC universe. And that's what I would rather have. Like, right now, we've got a somewhat bad police procedural. Like, I knew who did it. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
We all knew.
It was
you saw it. You knew.
I mean, the whole episode was basically like a... Well, I kept thinking of him as Phil Spector, actually. And
I mean, you don't pull Ira from Mad About You and say, you're not the bad guy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, that's the problem, though, you have. Like, if you've watched enough television, you get to the point... And I think a lot of people, probably anyone who's listening to this, is one of the people who does this. Like, you get to that point there where you know enough actors... You can't be fooled. Yeah, you can't be fooled in a procedural anymore because you watch them and go, like, yeah, they wouldn't have pulled in Lee Pace unless he was going to do that, you know?
Yep. It does happen.
It's a sad time. It's a truly sad time.
But I honestly...
And I've done that, though.
Have
you ever done that, like watching Law & Order with somebody? I mean, granted, every time I watch Law & Order with somebody, I mean, like, I'm trapped in a room and they're watching Law & Order.
Every time I'm watching Law and Order, exactly is when I'm getting oil change.
There you go. There you go.
I'm trapped in a waiting room watching TNT air Law and Order, and I can barely hear it.
You just
and there's usually like, three old guys and a very stressed out looking middle-aged woman.
Right.
And we're all sitting in there trying to pretend to read magazines, and we're all watching Law and Order instead. But
I've had this conversation with somebody, like in a room with somebody, where they're like, we get to a scene in Law and Order, and like, he did it. Well, how do you know? Well, because it's about this time. It's about the time in the episode every time where they introduce you to who actually did it, and they've already given you the one false lead that they're required to give you, I think, contractually. And his IMDb page is the longest, so he did it. Like, that's it.
Yes. I have done that, yeah.
Oh, well.
But it's just within my own head. Most people are like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, okay. Well, enjoy your show, sweetie. But yeah, I think Lucifer is a good show. So far, it's pretty good.
I don't want to hold the procedural thing completely against it. Because like I said, like Constantine was a monster of the week, and I loved the fuck out of it. So...
Right. But if it goes more... Right now, it feels like Sleepy Hollow to me.
Yeah.
In the procedural way.
Right.
And that's not going to cut it. And if that's all they've got to offer, you're talking about Lucifer. You're talking about the devil, man.
There's a lot you can do here. Go crazy.
Are you seriously whipping a procedural dick out at me? No.
Right.
Please. Put that thing away.
Right.
It's gnarled, and I'm tired of seeing it.
If all I ever had out of this show was... If all I ever had out of it was a pilot, like if it was canceled tomorrow, I would still... It taught me a phrase that I hope I never forget. Carnal fascination.
Carnal fascination. That was a good one.
That was good.
That was fun.
I also really like his little coin thing he does. Digging that. Digging the
yeah,
little...
that's interesting.
I'm digging, it's a nice little mindless gesture, but looks great on screen, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, I hope that we get some. If they're going to keep doing the show, I hope that some of the people on there become likable. I mean, we got his buddy at the bar telling him, like, "Don't save humans. What are you doing?"
Right.
Like, she's not even like funny or interesting about it. She's just kind of a dick about the entire thing. Just like, all right.
Like, I'm not sure why she came with him. Like, did he not give her a choice?
Yeah.
She obviously chose to leave too. Like, what the hell? And she does. She hints at. She says early on, like, well, I like having sex as much as the next girl, but what are we doing here, guy? Mm-hmm. It's just she seems to be hinting that he's supposed to actually have an agenda other than just follow his new friend around.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what that is, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to have a little more interesting reasons to watch the show. That's all I'm saying.
For now, I'll just say, like, give me more of the actual back and forth. Like, what are the consequences of him leaving hell? And I want as many therapy sessions as possible. Those are my wishes at the moment.
That might be fair. All right, so I think that's going to do it for this episode of DC On Screen. You can find every episode of DC On Screen at dconscreen.com. You can also find us on iTunes and Stitcher. If you'd be interested in a similar podcast about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, go check out our friends at the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. It's mcucast.com. We are both part of the Giant Size Team Up Network, proud members, I'll say. And we will be coming back very shortly with The Flash episode 111. So join us for that. Until then, keep some DC on your screen.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's Golo.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's Golo.com. Again, Golo.com.